No, good morning, everyone. Thank you everyone for coming today. Definitely appreciate as we wait for this to power up. But I started the last class by saying something that happened over the last 30 days in the county of Georgia. They had 245 people who lost their job within 30 days. Virtual teachers that wasn't prepared to lose their job over the last couple of weeks. But it connects to what we're about to talk about here when it comes to finance and investments, because we can't wait for these things to take place before we start planning for them to take place, because it could happen to any one of us. And when you think of these individuals, which I prayed for, you gotta think, how much is it affecting them? But what were their life before, bless you, what was their life before that? So when I consider what finance is, I look at the relationship we have with God or the Bible. How many of us have a Bible? How many of us feel that we are where we need to be because we have a Bible? I can't raise my hand for that one, just being honest. But how many of us have a phone that have our finance, that have our statements, that have our banking information on it, but we feel that we are comfortable because we have our finance in our phone, we're where we are supposed to be financially? Anyone feel comfortable saying that?
No.
I'm in banking, I still can't say that. So when you think of the relationship of what you have because you have something, if you're not comfortable with it, so if you're not comfortable with the Bible and you read a passage that doesn't really make sense to you, that you need to continue trying to analyze, find someone that could analyze that statement for you or that passage for you, just like finance. If you get your statement and it doesn't make sense to you, your 401ks, your taxes, find someone that will make it make sense to you. But you can't continue to live a life until something happens. He's like, no man, I wish I had asked God for forgiveness yesterday. Now today I lost my job. I wish I had saved money yesterday, and today I lost my job. So these are things, when I think of what we're about to talk about today, it can impact us, but we can't wait for something to happen until we start making this certain behavior versus an action. So when we talk about a behavior, how many of us have a spending plan? Active spending plan. Did you guys already do it already, or are you about to
That's
go?
a good question. Every hand should be up, right?
Yeah. You're almost at the end of the class.
Okay. So let me start with some questions real quick for you. At a 5% return compound monthly, how much would $100,000 grow in 30 years? 5%. For those who've done the class, do not tell the answer.
Anybody?
Anyone? A, B, C?
Yes.
There's no wrong answer.
30 years. Should guess.
30 years, 5%.
B. B.
B? Any C's? Any A's? If you get a calculator, it works. Promise you it works. What'd you get?
Ooh.
That means over 30 years, at a conservative, 5% is very, very conservative, someone could have $500,000. That means if you have a 401k and you're with the company for 30 years, and most companies right now start their 401k match at 6%, that means that individual for 30 years, and a lot of people say, but Mr. James, there's not likelihood I'm gonna be with the same company for 30 years. But if you change to another company, that 30 years continue.
Amen.
Your 401k does roll over with you and it travels with you as you continue to work for companies. So that means in 30 years, unless you decide to not work for another 10, 20, 30 years, this will travel with you for $500,000. This is a real question right here. This is what the actual question is. And the 8% is what you compound every 10 years. So what do you think $100,000 would be over 30 years? A, B, C.
B. Tell whoever doesn't answer is not going to become.
So this is the real answer. This is the real question. That means everyone who is in a 401k for 30 years at a 30%, 8%, 30-year return, will receive $100 million or more. The market's gonna go up, the market's gonna go down, the market's gonna go sideways, you're gonna get president coming in, president going out. But over the last 50 years, that has been the average in terms of return. So when I think of where we are today, what's your goals? Where do you want to be? And what's your investment roadmap? Meaning, at the end of your 30 years, 40 years for some people, depending on what age you are, because we all have different ages, where do you want to be? How do you start? And that's where this class comes in terms of where are you currently? How many of us have 401ks? How many of us have IRAs? How many of us have a savings account? Start there. Cool beans. Okay, cool beans. You have to start somewhere. And then from there, what's the plan to get someplace else to accomplish our goals? So when you think of your current situation and you think of your traditional transactional accounts, these are all short-term products. So what's a short-term product? A checking account, savings accounts are all short-term products. Very, very, very transactional. And we all have a checking account, right? What's the purpose of a checking account? Let's tell the class last. What's the purpose of a checking account?
Spend money to have it liquid.
Have it liquid. Money comes in, money goes out. That's your checking account, which is very transactional. And I told this to the last class because we're seeing more and more banks is having this problem. If you only have one checking account and it's for your expenses, do me a favor, open another one for your spending habits. That's your online purchases, that's your TikTok, your Instagram, your Amazon, your Best Buy, your whatever you're buying, outside of your expenses, you should have another account for that. So I work in a bank. So I teach classes, but I also work in a bank. Every bank right now is seeing more and more disputes when it comes to fraud. I would have never said that 5 years ago, I would have never said that 10 years ago. But today, there's a lot more fraud taking place, and you cannot have your expenses and your debit card of what you put in with your mortgage, your bills, be the same debit card that you use on Amazon or Instagram or eBay. It cannot be the same debit card, or you cannot be coming out from the same account. Because what's gonna happen is the bank will freeze your account or put a hold in your account. How do you pay your mortgage, your rent, your car payment? How do you pay your bills? And they could freeze it for 90 days. So that's just current information I'm gonna give you to separate your accounts, so that way you don't find yourself in a situation where it's the 1st of the month or the 30th of the month, your account is frozen and you're locked out of your account. Going down, you have your savings account. We all should have a savings. Cool beans. How many people have one savings? Keep your hands up. How many people have 2 savings? How many people have 3 savings? 4? 5? You should have a savings. Savings should be for everything. One for your house in case something breaks, one for your car in case something breaks, one for your kids in case they get sick. There's multiple savings. Savings are free, just like checking accounts, they are free. At least it should be. But savings are definitely free if you have a checking account. But you never know when a rainy day is gonna come, because if you have to move money from a checking to a savings, that means if you have a spending plan and you've done your spending plan for the month, you're taking from Peter to pay Paul. Don't do that. As your money comes in, you should also have an itemized way of saving and putting money aside for yourself. Most of us will pay AT&T first. Most of us will pay Netflix first. Most of us will pay all these different things first before we pay ourselves. How many of us have subscriptions? Come on, everyone should raise their hands. Subscriptions: Netflix, HBO, Disney Plus, Hulu, Amazon TV, or Apple TV. Before you pay all of those companies, even if it's $10, that $10 should go into a savings account. And I'll show you why in a second. So that's your short term. Another short term product you have is a money market account. Does anyone know what a money market account is? Money market account is
Is it a high yield savings
It's a
account?
high yield savings account. That means someone just gave you $10,000, the IRS, the lotto, wherever the money comes from, you want to put it someplace, but you will still want to keep it liquid, that's a money market account. Most banks would have promotion on a money market account between 2.5 to right now, I think is 4%. Still keep it liquid, you can take it in and out, still a transactional account. In addition to that, you have your CD, very transactional, but it does lock up your money for a term, meaning 4 months, can't touch it for 4 months, if not, you get a 33% penalization. But the same thing, hey, I want to buy a house next year, and I have this lump sum of money. Where do I put it? So it stays, I can't touch it, and it earns interest. Put it in a CD. It's locked up, but you know what? It's not under your mattress, not earning nothing. It's not in a savings account earning something. Anyone ever had money in a savings account and say, you know what? I have an emergency, I gotta pull money from somewhere. Ever happened to someone? Anyone? We're always gonna find an emergency. And if you have a real purpose of this money and this is to buy a house or buy a car or buy something substantial, put in a CD. If not, an emergency will always pop up. And you can always pull that money throughout the year or throughout the months. So that's your short-term transactional account. Long-term transactional account is your stocks, your bonds, your mutual funds, your ETFs. Then you have your retirement products, which is still long-term IRAs, 401k, 403bs, and pension. Left half of the screen can always be emotional. How I feel, what's going on with my life, things is coming, I just had a baby, I'm just getting married, I had a death in the family, whatever it is, that's your left side of the screen. That's all emotion. The right side of the screen has nothing to do with emotion. Nothing to do with emotion. Nothing to do with what's happening in the economy, who's in, who's out, nothing at all. Because the goal for all of us is one day to do what? Retire. And how we retire is all depends on how you or what you're doing today. The difference is, comes down to what we're doing. So we talk about checking, we talk about savings, we talk about short-term investment tools, we talk about the money market, we talk about CDs. What we didn't get in detail with is the stocks. What stocks should you buy? Where should I buy stocks? Where do I start looking to buy stocks? What's a good company to buy stocks from? How many of us have an Apple phone? Samsung phone? How many of us use Amazon? Use companies you're already familiar with already. Those are the stocks you buy. Do not go outside and buy a stock for a company or a tip you heard from somebody else. It could be a good tip, it could be a bad tip, but you know what? What's a great tip is the products you have around you. Like I love Nikes. Should I buy Nike stock? Yes. 1000%. I love Amazon. I'm ordering from them almost every day. Should I buy Amazon stock? Yes. Stocks is you're partaking of the part of a company, and if their profit goes up, yours goes up. Apple had a split back during COVID, which made a lot of people good money. Really, 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 really good money. I think it's a 4-to-1 split. Should everybody be an Apple, even if you don't have an Apple phone? The answer is yes. Because Apple right now, as I told in the last class, they're about to do something incredible in terms of technology. You want to be a part of it. If you're in the market. Not everyone is built for the market. But if you're in the market and want to be in the market, want to be a partaker of the market, those are the stocks you buy that's going to give you a decent return into your retirement, and it just stays there. Is the stocks going to go down one day?
They go up and down.
One week is going to go up, 1 week is going to go down? Yeah, sure. Remember I said no emotion? Just like your 401k. Is anybody 401k is like a wave right now? 1000%. Let's just stop looking at mine. I have to. You have to. Because it could really put you in a place where it's like, it's the third day, it's the fourth day, it's the fifth day. But you know what? Over 10 years, you're still gonna get the same return. That's the good thing about it. So you can't look at it as short-term way. Then you have bonds, which is your government bonds, your municipality bonds, your state bonds, your city bonds. That's your city or your state saying, hey, can we borrow a certain amount of money from you? And in a certain time of term, we're gonna give you money back with this much interest. Nothing bad with that, nothing wrong with that. So the state of Florida say, hey, can they borrow some money from you? for 4 years. Is Florida going anywhere?
No.
Perfect. Is that a good investment? More than likely, yeah. Then you have your mutual funds, which is nothing but a piece of pie. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. But the pie you purchase looks different for all of us. Because based on your age, based on your investment, piece of pie for a 21-year-old is gonna look different than a person that's 51-year-old. So that's why you sit down with your financial advisor, you explain to them, hey, this is my goal, this is my plan, and this is when I wanna retire, and this is how much I want to invest every month or every year. And he or she will design something for you, not for everybody else, but for you. Because based on your age, risks look different. Your risk tolerance has to be different, and that's where it comes into speaking to an advisor, because he or she will say, hey, based on everything else, this is what I suggest. So this is what I'm gonna say, for most of us who have a 401k, how many of us have a 401k or 403b? For those who do, it's in a company that has an umbrella policy. Everyone in the company has an umbrella is under the policy. You have the power to pull yourself out and be advised by that company, which is usually like a Vanguard or Fidelity. If you call them, they will say, hey, this is my age, this is the company I work for, and they will advise you to pull your money out, not out of the company, but out of the umbrella, and they'll manage it still for you, so you get the most return based on your age. But if you start a company with a company that has a 401k, you're just in the same bracket with someone who's 21 years old and someone that's 55 years old. That's shouldn't be in the, you can't be in the same bracket, because we all look different. Does that make sense? Yes, no? Cool beans. Then when it comes to VIT, which is your ETF, ETF is your international and can also be your local domestic stocks. That's your, give it to me, real estate from overseas, that's your stock from overseas, that's your vehicles. So going, talk about this earlier. How many people drive like a Nissan, Toyota, your foreign cars? Should you invest in these cars? I'll tell you why. 2032, 2035, the government is asking, if not all of these car companies, to have 51% or more to be EV. Which means there are gonna be more electric cars as the years progress. Which means most of these companies are gonna want your money. So in terms of investment and stocks, you can, as they make money, you can make money with them. That's all a part of your ETFs. Then you have your annuity, which is much like insurance. I hate to talk about insurance, but insurance is a great thing, but insurance has evolved so much over the last 20 years. So much, which means your insurance your parents had, your grandparents had, is completely different than insurance today. So most of the insurance today, you can also live on it versus waiting until someone passed away. So for most of us who say, you know what, man, I can't afford insurance, I don't want insurance, it's not for me, it's for somebody else when I pass. That's not it, that's not the truth. Sit and talk to somebody about insurance, sit and talk to somebody about your life, sit and talk to somebody around your benefits, because I know so many people right now who's paying for car insurance, who's paying for mortgage insurance, who's paying for rental insurance, who's paying for cell phone insurance, but yet they don't have insurance for themselves. So think about that for a second. Then when you come to what we talked about earlier, why are we not going down? For those who have 401ks, 403bs, and profit sharing, much like your Chick-fil-A's, your Walmart, or your Publix, is still a thing. But if you're an entrepreneur, can you have a 401k? If you're an entrepreneur, can you have an investment plan? If you own your own business?
Yes.
Yes. Problem is, most entrepreneurs, small businesses don't, because they're trying to put as much as they can, especially in the beginning, to make sure the business is successful. Nothing wrong with that. God knows there's nothing wrong with that. When you think of these major companies, they pay themselves first before they pay out anything to anyone. Because if your small business fails, what fails with it? Your family's finance. Just think about how much can you put aside in case something happens to me. And that's where your life insurance, that's where your annuities, that's where your mutual funds comes in. But when you think about today, and we talked about $10 earlier, what's the average cost of someone purchasing coffee in the morning and lunch in the afternoon? What would you say someone's paying?
Coffee and lunch?
Coffee in the morning, lunch in the afternoon. I see this every day at one of the banks. $18, $20?
Yeah.
Okay. $20 you say? Anybody else? Cup of coffee in the morning and probably going out for lunch. What's the dollar would you say? I'm looking for an average. 23, 25. Let's go with $20. Anyone have a calculator? Do $20 times 5. Easy math. $100. And what's $100 times 4? $400. And what's $400 times 12?
It's 4,800.
So most of the individuals that I see, I come across every single day, every single week in different branches, feel that they're living paycheck to paycheck and they're not earning enough money, but spends $20 a day on a coffee and a lunch. And I will tell you right now, they do not have $4,800 in their bank account. But the thing about it, that's $4,800. That's many of us. Because I cannot sit here and tell you I don't go out for coffee. I cannot sit here and tell you I don't go out for lunch also. But you have to feel comfortable by saying, at least I have a savings account, at least I have a blow money account, at least I have a rainy fund account, at least I have something that if something happens to me, there's a savings account for me to fall back on. But it's harder to say that if you don't have $4,800 and still spend $20 a day on lunch or a coffee. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But that's how we start. We start by looking at the smallest, minute things in our spending plan. That's why I said in the beginning, how many of us have a spending plan? But it's hard to get to retirement if you don't have a spending plan today, because the money you're gonna take from what you're making or saving today is what you're gonna put towards having your 401ks, your IRAs, your stocks, your additional parties or your additional products or vehicles in order to bless you to get to a comfortable retirement. When comfortable is relative to everyone, because we all want to do something different when we retire. There was a young lady in the class earlier who was saying her main thing when she retires is traveling. That's me. There's nothing else I want to do besides travel when I retire. But everyone have a different goal. What's yours? When you retire, what do you want to do?
I want to keep working on my own things. I don't want to work for another business.
Perfect.
You know?
My lady, what's yours? What's your retirement looks like? What do you want to do? Travel. Missionary work, perfect. But we know missionary work is not free, right? That also costs a little bit of money. What do you want to do, sir?
Travel, hobbies.
Travels and hobbies. When you look at your spending plan and look at the big picture to make smart investment tips make sense to most of us, is being very, very reasonable in your expectations, and that's knowing when do you want to retire, how much do you want to have when you retire. I think that's probably the biggest thing, if I can say, take away from this class. How much do you want to have when you retire? So for most of us who have a home right now, if you live in a house is part of your portfolio for your retirement. So that's you have your 401k, you have a savings account. For some people, they're going to receive a pension. So for some people, they're going to receive Social Security. But if you also have a mortgage and you pay off your mortgage, that's a major part of your retirement. Because if you're in the house for 30 years and you bought a house for, let's just for example, $200,000, $250,000, what do you think your house is going to be worth in 30 years? Let me give you Orlando. Think about the growth of Orlando right now. Think of the many companies that's popping up. Like I just saw in the last 6 months, I think 2 Tesla stations popped up near the airport, or the international airport. Just popped out of nowhere. I'm like, I literally drove down. I was like, when did this show up? But think of your property in Orlando. Another one was Epic Park. Epic Park popped up in Sand Lake, and right across the street is Tangelo Park. Tangelo Park homes used to be $30,000 to $80,000 a few years ago. What do you think these homes are worth now? $350,000. Like I still kick myself sometimes. Like I know Tangelo Park, because Rosen, the owner for Rosen, I forgot his first name. He invested in Tangelo Park. For everyone who lives in Tangelo Park, receive a scholarship for college, GED, and if you need a job, you get a job at Rosen Hotels. He totally invested most of his money into that neighborhood. But it was still open for people to purchase property there. And now with Epic Park right across the street. So when you think of your property, think of buying a house today, think of 30 years from today. Where do you think you'll be buying a house, even if it's at $450? Do we think Orlando's going anywhere in 30 years? Disney, Universal, Tesla, who's coming here and popping up station, will not be buying this much property if they feel that this is a bad investment. So most people say, no, but Mr. James, the market is bad. The rates are high. Cost of homes are high. And it is. God knows it is. But if you're paying rent, what's the average cost of rent today? A 2-bedroom.
22, 23.
Let's say $2,200. What do you think rent is going to cost next year?
27.
I'm not gonna say that high, but it's not gonna go down. That's the point I was trying to make. It will not go down. So it is still in your best interest to own than to rent. Across the board. And if anyone want to have the argument with me, I will gladly have it after class. But the thing about it is, in many cases, there's a lot of reason why people move: for family growth, for jobs relocation, a lot of different reasons. But in terms of retirement and feeling comfortable, and when you turn 65, 70, is really knowing that I have comfortably done everything I can in my power financially to put myself in a comfortable place when I decide I'm not gonna work no more. That's what this is. But it's literally, everything starts with having a spending plan. Looking at what you're making either every 2 weeks, every week, at the end of the month, who am I paying? What am I paying out? How much do I bring in? How much is going out? And how much can I save? The thing about it is, it doesn't matter how much you make. It doesn't matter how much you make, because we all can save based on how much we are bringing in. But it all comes out to what is going out at the same time. React logically, not emotionally, to your portfolio. That's what we talked about earlier. Reviewing your investment quarterly. So does anyone have a 401k? I think there's like 3 or 4 people raise their hand. Does everyone have a brokerage account in this room? If you do get a brokerage account in the future, near future, something like this, if you have a 401k, that's a brokerage account. It's just through your company. If it's through a company, through your municipality, if you're a teacher, nurse, police officer, always have someone check it. Go to your bank, whatever your local bank is, whoever you're banking with, and have them sit with you and go through your retirement, go through your portfolio, because you might see there's usually tons and tons of savings when it comes to your 401ks, 403bs. Find a reputable investment portfolio person, professional, to help you, guide you through your investment. That's why we teach these classes. If you have any questions, I'm here to support. Always here to answer any question for you. That's why I love coming back to Faith with these classes, because even though it's a big church, we all have different lives. We're here for the same common reason, to praise God and to be blessed. But at the exact same time, when we leave here, our journey looks different. Our finance look different, but we all can still learn to figure out how can we make this work for us collectively. But once again, I harpen by saying it starts with a spending plan. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope this was valuable to you. I thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, I'll be here for at least another 15, 20 minutes. Okay, everyone, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know.